A warm welcome to you all students. Today we are going to start a new chapter and that is plant kingdom. Now before we start, let's recapitulate about the five kingdom classification made by R.H. Whitaker. So R.H. Whitaker, he gave a five kingdom classification in which he grouped all the living organisms present on the surface of earth into five main groups or kingdoms, which included number one, monadans, which included unicellular prokaryotic organisms. Then number two, protista, which included unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Okay. Then third kingdom is fungi, which includes one unicellular and rest of them are multicellular eukaryotic achlorophyllous saprophytic organisms. Then comes the plant kingdom, which consists of multicellular eukaryotic chlorophyllous plants. And number fifth kingdom is the animal kingdom, which includes multicellular eukaryotic organisms, which are totally heterotroph in nature. Okay, so this is a basic classification of the five kingdoms. Now we have already seen about the three kingdoms. Now what we have to study is the fourth kingdom, that is the plant kingdom. Okay, so let's get started. So before we study about the different types of plants, first of all, let's see what are the different systems on the basis of which the plants are classified. So number one, there is the artificial system of classification. It uses morphological characters such as habit, color, number and shape of leaves, etc. It is based mainly on vegetative characters or on the Androecium characters, structures, and the system was given by Linnaeus. The artificial systems give equal weightage to the vegetative and sexual characteristics. This is not acceptable since we know that often the vegetative characters are more easily affected by the environment. Okay, so basically, artificial system of classification, it classifies the different types of plant present on the surface of the earth on the basis of only the outer appearing characteristics, which are called the morphological characteristics, like where they grow, what is the structure of that plant, what is the color of the leaves, the shape of the leaves, the size of the plant. Okay, so these are only the vegetative characters, or it can be some Androecium characters, like whether they are having how many stamens they are having, whether the stamens are together or not, whether they are free or not. Okay, so on the basis of the vegetative characters, the Androecium structure and the outermost appearance of the plants, these plants were classified into different groups. Okay, so this system is not acceptable, obviously, because there are so many characters which should also be taken into consideration before classifying any organism or any plant into different groups. Okay, we cannot overlook some characters and classify the plants. We have to consider the finest detail about that plant, and then only we can properly categorize them into different categories. Now the next mode of a system of classification is the phylogenetic classification system. Now what is this? It is the most acceptable system and it is based on evolutionary relationship between the various organisms. Now what do you mean by evolutionary relationship? That means it takes into consideration of not only the outer character or the inner character of that particular plant species, but it also takes into consideration about the from the very time that plant originated on the earth. Okay, so from that time the that means, in other words, we can say that this phylogenetic takes into account of the ancestral history of that particular plant. Ancestral history means from what the plant has arise. Okay, like whenever we are studying, in the animal kingdom also you will study that the evolution of the, first of all, the land animals. Among the vertebrates, the aquatic animals were there. Then from aquatic, then amphibians came. Then from amphibians, reptile came. Then from reptile, aves came. Then from aves, and the most modern animals are the mammals. Okay, so this is what it is, an evolutionary pattern, that which animal came first, isn't it? Same is the case with the plants. Like first, those those plants which were having very simple structure at the time of the origin of the earth, those evolved. So they were mostly what, they were algae like. Okay, so firstly we consider that algae came first into existence, then the bryophytes, then the pteridophytes, then the gymnosperms, and then the angiosperms. Means there is a pattern. Okay, there is a ancestral history of each and every plant. So we have to take into consideration those things also while classifying a plant into a particular category. Also, you must be knowing that when we classify the organisms or the plants into different categories, we automatically come to relate one plant of a particular group with another plant of another group, isn't it? So if in a proper classification, if a plant, if or an organism is properly classified, or we can take an example from here, like if we are knowing two families, isn't it? Then, and two families accidentally occur from the same, some from the same family or from the same background, we can trace back their history, isn't it? Ki whose grandfather was whose uncle, or whose uncle was whose grandfather, and so on, isn't it? We are able to relate each other among the two different families. So same is the case with the plants also. So this is the most advanced and most acceptable system of classifying the plants into the different groups. Okay, that is why firstly we study algae, because it came into existence first, then bryophytes, then slowly and gradually the plants moved towards more advanced forms. They started growing to particular heights, so pteridophytes. Then they started bearing seeds, so they became gymnosperm, and from the seeds flowers and fruits started forming, so this led to the evolution of the angiosperms or the flowering plants. Okay, so this assumes that the organisms belonging to the same taxa have a common ancestor. That means that I told you that if we know two families, then we are able to relate the parents or the source of origin of a particular plant. Okay, so now next what we have to study, next classification system which is taken into consideration is numerical taxonomy. Okay, so numerical taxonomy actually is what, like this is also an advanced type of classification or taxonomical study about a particular plant. In this, it is carried out by using computers, and it is based on overall observable characteristics. Okay, in this way, each character is given equal importance, and at the same time, hundreds of characters can be considered. Okay, so what we have studied before this were the methods of classification, that was artificial and the phylogenetic system of classification. Now, what we are studying is new branch in taxonomy, which helps us to study in detail or to group or relate any particular plant. So numerical taxonomy, what happens is we study a particular family of plant or something with the help of computers. Okay, so in this what is done is where there is a usage of computers to store the data of regarding a particular species of plants, the characteristic inner, outer, and anatomical, morphological. Okay, and so this is a new branch in taxonomy. Then a second branch is cytotaxonomy. It is based on the cytological information, means we can get the inner details about the plant species up to the cell level. Okay, like its chromosome number, the structure, the behavior of the plant, the the genetic makeup of that plant, and so on. And another is chemotaxonomy. It is based on the chemical constituents of the plant. Chemical constituent means what type of chemicals are present in a particular type of cell. Like there are some plants which secrete and secrete different types of chemicals, alkaloids, isn't it? Oils, rubbers, tannin, latex, isn't it? So on that basis also we can there are so many different characters of particular plants, and we can study all those characters also in this branch of taxonomy, that is chemotaxonomy. Okay, so these were the new development in taxonomy. Now next what we have to study before looking into detail about the different types of uh, plants, firstly we'll have a broad outlook on the classification on the of the plants. Okay, so basically the plants are classified firstly on the basis of one character, and that is the body of the plant is whether differentiated into true roots, stems, leaves or not. Okay, means first of all, in order to categorize plants into different groups and categories, we consider some particular characteristics. Okay, so what we consider is number one, ki firstly we will see that whether a plant is having a well differentiated root system, shoot system and leaves or not. If a plant is not having a proper or true root, true stems and true leaves, what do you mean by true root, true stem, true leaves? Means they are there are certain structures present in the stems. Like stems का characteristic structure क्या है, feature क्या है कि they must be having nodes and internodes. ठीक है, उसी तरह से रूट का क्या है कि रूट्स में एक मेन रूट होता है, फिर कई सारे उसमें सेकेंडरी रूट्स होंगे, प्राइमरी रूट्स, सेकेंडरी रूट्स, और इफ इट इज़ फाइब्रस रूट्स देन सो मेनी रूट्स आर देयर, रूट हेयर्स आर देयर, डिफरेंट स्ट्रक्चर्स आर देयर. ठीक है, डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ सेल्स आर एसोसिएटेड विद द रूट्स. ठीक है, रूट इज कवर्ड विद रूट कैप्स. सो दीज आर द बेसिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. सिमिलरली लीव्स आर हैविंग वेन्स, they can be dicot, they can be monocot. Okay, so there are different characteristics of different types of roots, stems and leaves. तो ऐसे plants जिनमें कि प्रॉपर रूट्स, स्टेम्स और लीव्स नहीं होते हैं, वेल डिफ्रेंशिएटेड रूट्स, स्टेम्स और लीव्स नहीं होते हैं, सच groups of plants are kept in a particular category, and those plants are called thallophyta. Those plants are called thallophyta. Okay, or they are also called algae. Okay, thallophyta or algae. Now what do you mean by thallophyta? थैलो वर्ड इज डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम अ वर्ड थैलस, और थैलस का मतलब क्या होता है, सैक लाइक स्ट्रक्चर. सैक मीन्स जैसे कि बोरा. ठीक है, तो बेसिकली थैलस वर्ड जो है वो बायोलॉजिकल टर्म में यूज़ होता है ऐसे स्ट्रक्चर को डिफाइन करने के लिए जिसका कोई प्रॉपर शेप और साइज़ ना हो. ठीक है, जस्ट अ क्लम्प ऑफ सेल्स, जस्ट अ मास ऑफ सेल्स. ओके, सो ऐसे स्ट्रक्चर्स जो बस एक क्लम्प हो, एक एग्रीगेशन हो, मास लंप हो, एक, ठीक है, एक झुंड हो, तो उसको हम क्या बोलेंगे, थैलस या थैलोफाइटा. ठीक है, तो एल्गी का मतलब, नाउ यू ऑलमोस्ट हैव सीन एल्गल ब्लूम्स ऑन द वाटर सरफेस. ठीक है, जिसको हम काई बोलते हैं. ठीक है, काई जो होती है ना, it is so slippery, and this is monsoon season going on, so you can see the algae all around, isn't it? So wherever there will be sufficient water, then, or a surface is there where continuously water is being drained into that area, the algal blooms are seen, isn't it? So you just observe, you just take a pinch of algae in your fingers, okay, and you just try to observe that. You will not find a particular stem or root or leaf as present in other larger plants, isn't it? So and such plants are called thallophyta because their body is thallus like. So example is algae, means not example but the category itself is thallophyta, or you can call it algae. Okay, Now, this was a condition when root, stem, and leaves are absent. Now, what happens? What will be the case when the body is differentiated into proper root, stems, and leaves? Now, again, there can be two possibilities. Number one, now we will check for vascular tissues, the presence or absence of vascular tissues. So, if the vessels, if the vascular tissues means xylem and phloem. Okay, xylem and phloem. Like xylem consists of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma and xylem sclerenchyma, isn't it? Similarly, phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem sclerenchyma. So if all these components are absent in a particular plant, then such plants are grouped into one category, and that is known as bryophyta. Algae also, thallophytes also don't have vascular bundles. ओके, वैस्कुलर टिश्यूज़ एल्गी में भी नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन इनमें क्या है कि इनमें इनकी बॉडी भी डिफ्रेंशिएटेड नहीं है प्रॉपर रूट, स्टेम और लीफ में. लेकिन अगर कोई ऐसे प्लांट है जिसकी बॉडी इज़ डिफ्रेंशिएटेड इनटू रूट, स्टेम्स एंड लीफ, तो अब हम नेक्स्ट चीज़ क्या चेक करेंगे? वैस्कुलर टिश्यू प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं है, जाइलम और फ्लोएम प्रेजेंट है कि नहीं है. अगर एब्सेंट है तो ऐसे प्लांट्स को हम क्या बोलते हैं? ब्रायोफाइटा. ओके, सच प्लांट्स आर कॉल्ड ब्रायोफाइटा. ब्रायोफाइटा को कॉमन नेम में हम बोल सकते हैं मॉसेस. ओके, ब्रायोफाइटा कॉमनली कॉल्ड मॉसेस. मॉसेस और एल्गी का स्ट्रक्चर जो है वो मिलता जुलता है. दे आर सिमिलर इन नेचर, बट द डिफरेंस इज कि इफ़ यू टच द टेक्सचर ऑफ एल्गी दे विल बी मोर, more creamy texture, isn't it? Because they are very soft and very creamish. Okay, slimy, not creamish but slimy type, because they require a lot of moisture to grow. But the mosses, these mosses are, if you pluck mosses, you can also observe in this monsoon season, like very small, very tiny leaves. Okay, leaf like structured plants you will find on the rocks, on the on the field, in your garden, on the soil. Okay, so you can find there. You just take a pinch of a soil with those mosses on your hand, and then you will be able to observe that very tiny leaves. They are not actual leaves, they are just leaf like structures. Okay, and plus they are having spores also. Like in fungus we have studied कि फ्रूटिंग बॉडीज़ होते हैं, उसके अंदर स्पोर्स बनता है, वैसे इनके अंदर भी छोटे छोटे स्पोर्स फॉर्मिंग स्ट्रक्चर होंगे, फ्रूटिंग बॉडीज़ होगी जिनके अंदर ऑरेंज छोटे छोटे जो है वो स्पोर्स भी प्रोड्यूस होते हैं. तो ये डिफरेंस है एल्गी में और मॉसेस में. तो दूर से देखने पे थोड़ी सी सिमिलैरिटीज़ लगेगी, बट एल्गी इज़ मच स्मॉलर इन साइज, प्लस इट्स मोर स्लाइमी. ओके, तो उसको काई कहते हैं. और एल्गी क्या है? एल्गी जो है इट इज़ लाइक एल्गी, mosses are like algae, but they are little bit more defined because they are having रूट, स्टेम्स एंड लीव्स. बट इनका रूट, स्टेम्स और लीव्स का मतलब ये नहीं है बहुत प्रॉपर रूट, स्टेम्स, लीफ होगा. इनकी भी बॉडी थोड़ी बहुत थैलेसी लाइक होती है, not very well differentiated into root, stems and leaves. Well, we will be seeing in details when we will be studying each and every group. So anyways, so if the vascular tissue is absent, so that plant will be categorized into bryophyta. If present, then a group of plants are said to be tracheophyta. Tracheophyta means they are having the vascular tissues in them. Now these tracheophytes can again be divided into two on the basis of whether the seeds are present in them or not. If the seeds are absent in them, then such plants are called cryptogames. ओके, क्रिप्टोगेम्स. वैस्कुलर टिश्यू जब हमने चेक कर लिया, तो अब हम क्या चेक कर रहे हैं कि सीड्स प्रोड्यूस हो रहे हैं कि नहीं. तो सीड्स अगर एब्सेंट होंगे तो उन प्लांट्स को हम क्रिप्टोगेम्स कहते हैं. क्रिप्टो का मतलब, क्रिप्ट वर्ड जब भी आता है तो उसका मतलब होता है छुपा हुआ, हिडन. ओके, तो क्रिप्टोगेम्स का मतलब ऐसे प्लांट्स जिनमें सीड्स जो है वो एब्सेंट होते हैं, प्रोड्यूस नहीं होते हैं. तो ऐसे प्लांट्स को क्या बोलते हैं? टेरिडोफाइट. टेरिडोफाइट्स वेर यू हैव सीन, लाइक टेरिडोफाइट्स के बड़े बड़े लीव्स होते हैं, उनका जो है थोड़ा सा they can have a tree like structure. Okay, for example, you all must have seen the bouquets. ठीक है, बुके में जब बुके बनाते हैं तो पीछे देखा होगा कि लंबी लंबी पत्तियों का जो है वो बैकग्राउंड बनाते हैं बुके पे, है ना, और डेकोरेट करने के भी लिए ये पत्ते काम आते हैं, ठीक है, टेरिडोफाइट्स के। उनको हम फर्न्स बोलते हैं कॉमन लैंग्वेज में, दे आर नोन एज फर्न्स, ठीक है। तो फर्न के पत्ते, फर्न्स ऑल्सो इज ईजिली अवेलेबल in around in your localities in the monsoon season. Okay, so such plants are called pteridophytes in which seeds are absent. And then the most advanced plants are those in which just seeds are present and they are grouped into phanerogams or spermatophyta. So what is phanerogams or spermatophyta? Phanerogams or spermatophyta are those plants which are producing seeds. But here also again there can be two possibilities, ठीक है। स्पर्मेटोफाइट अगर है, अगर उनमें सीड प्रोड्यूस हो रही है तो वो फ्लावर्स और फ्रूट्स प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं या नहीं कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। इफ़ दे आर प्रोड्यूसिंग सीड्स बट दे आर नॉट प्रोड्यूसिंग फ्लावर्स एंड फ्रूट्स, देन सच टाइप ऑफ प्लांट्स विल बी ग्रुप्ड इनटू जिम्नोस्पर्म्स। फॉर एग्जाम्पल साइकस और जो पाइनस का भी देखा होगा टेलीविजन में, you must have watched in the serials and movies those areas which are having very severe cold region, isn't it? You can just find the pine trees, they are having very needle like leaves, okay, so those plants are known as gymnosperms because they do not produce, they produce seeds but the seeds are not covered by fruits, and the fruits, and they do not produce flowers also, okay. And those plants which bear seeds also, fruits also, and flowers also, such plants are called angiosperms or the flowering plants, okay. So angiosperms are the most advanced plants in the whole plant kingdom. So from this flow chart we can draw out some conclusions. What are those conclusions? Like if you remember, then we have studied about taxonomical key, isn't it? Key in the first chapter, in the very first chapter, we studied about taxonomical keys. So what is this taxonomical key? There we had studied that it is used to study about a particular plant species depending upon two couplets of characteristics, isn't it? There is the option. So this is the best example of a key. ठीक है, सपोज आई गिव यू अ मैरीगोल्ड प्लांट, ठीक है, गेंदे का प्लांट इफ़ आई गिव यू, एंड इफ़ यू आर नॉट नोइंग, सपोज यू आर नॉट नोइंग अबाउट कि कौन सा वो प्लांट है, ठीक है, किस कैटेगरी में हमको उसको रखना है, उसको हमको थैलोफाइटा में रखना है कि ब्रायोफाइट में कि टेरिडोफाइट में कि जिम्नोस्पर्म में कि एंजियोस्पर्म में। तो हम ये जो स्टार्टिंग से स्टेप फॉलो कर रहे हैं कि पहले हम उस प्लांट को, हमने उसको वी विल ऑब्जर्व इट कि उसमें प्रॉपर रूट स्टेम्स और लीव्स है या नहीं है। तो ऑब्वियसली मैरीगोल्ड प्लांट में क्या होता है कि प्रॉपर रूट स्टेम और लीफ होता है, तो इसका मतलब कि ये थैलोफाइटा नहीं होगा। तो हम दूसरा ऑप्शन चेकआउट करेंगे कि हाँ इट इज़ हैविंग रूट स्टेम एंड लीफ, इजंट इट। नेक्स्ट, अब इसमें भी दो ऑप्शंस है कि वैस्कुलर टिश्यू एब्सेंट है कि वैस्कुलर टिश्यू प्रेजेंट है। तो विल चेक आउट फॉर द वैस्कुलर टिश्यू, हम उसका मान लो स्टेम का टीएस बनाए, ट्रांसफर सेक्शन, उसको ऑब्जर्व किया और हमने पाया कि नहीं उसमें वेसल्स तो हैं, जाइलम और फ्लोएम दोनों हैं। तब हम क्या करेंगे उसको कि हमें पता चल जाएगा कि इट इज़ नॉट अ ब्रायोफाइट, इट मे बी टेरिडोफाइट और जिम्नोस्पर्म और what angiosperms. Then we will check for the seeds, okay, so we know that they produces seed also, ठीक है, so it's very clear that it's not pteridophyte. Then comes the last two options, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So obviously flower is present, so that is why marigold will be considered as an angiospermic प्लांट। तो ये जो दो दो को ऑप्शन लेके हम चल रहे हैं और आइडेंटिफाई लास्ट में कर पा रहे हैं कि ये कौन सा प्लांट है, इसी ऑप्शंस, यही जो मेथड है इसी को हम क्या कहते हैं, टैक्सोनॉमिकल की, ठीक है। और ये जो दो दो ऑप्शंस दिए हुए हैं इनको हमने क्या पढ़ा था, इट वाज कॉल्ड एज लीड, LEAD, लीड, isn't it? So this is the best example of taxonomical key which helps to identify about a given particular plant or animal species. Okay, so this was the first conclusion about from this flow chart. Next, what we can draw the conclusion from this is that the plants, some of the plants, if we consider from the thallophyta, so we can see कि body is not differentiated into root, stems and leaf. बहुत ही simple structure है thallus like. फिर थोड़ा सा structure और advanced हुआ, उसमें जो है body थोड़ी सी differentiate हुई root, stems और leaves में, तो bryophytes बने. फिर उसमें से थोड़ा और एडवांसमेंट हुआ, उसमें वैस्कुलर टिश्यूज़ आए और उनमें सीड्स का फॉर्मेशन हुआ, तो वो टेरिडोफाइट्स, सीड का फॉर्मेशन, वैस्कुलर टिश्यू सिर्फ था बट सीड का फॉर्मेशन नहीं था, तो टेरिडोफाइट्स थे. एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंस इज द सीड्स were present but some of them were able to produce the flowers and fruits, some not. So which one not was gymnosperm, and the final the most modern group is angiosperm. So we can see the phylogenetic classification pattern here कि सबसे सिंपल में क्या आएगा, एल्गी आएगा, फिर ब्रायोफाइट्स, फिर टेरिडोफाइट्स, फिर जिम्नोस्पर्म्स, फिर एंजियोस्पर्म्स. Okay, so if you are asked to write in the exam about the different classification about the plants, so you also have to write in the same order. Okay, you will not break the, like, you will not write angiosperm first and then pteridophyte, and you will not randomly write. Okay, you have to write according to that evolutionary pattern. Okay, so this was an overall view about the classification of the plants which we have to study. So this was all for today. In our next lecture we'll be starting from algae. Okay, thank you.